Hello, and welcome back to Wonderland Asylum. We're back today, issue 74 of the Hachette Partworks release of Titanic, the ship, the legend. So, what's in today's magazine? Now, first and foremost, we have an article on the Teutonic, which was White Star Line's RMS Teutonic, the first armed merchant cruiser. Made its maiden voyage in 1889. There's a picture of it there. And there is some more information on the Teutonic. What it looked like inside. Not quite as grand as Titanic, eh? Still very nice. And that was New York City in 1880, apparently. And that brings us on to the instructions. So again, quite a lot of instructions. So, let's move on and see what's in the box today. Okay, so in today's box, we have some more AP screws. We have some more brown envelopes. We have another wire. And we have another LED strip. And then, of course, wrapped in tissue paper, we have the first class lounge. As you can see, there's a lot of different shaped windows, etc. Which does bring me on to a point. Now, if you look, that window is curved, which means that when we go to put the photo etch windows on, they won't fit in flush. So you will need to curve them slightly, so it's worth having something that you can use as a former to bend them round. Just a bit of a hint. So let's see, speaking of the photo etch windows, let's see what's in each of these little envelopes. Well, and the first one is some railings. I think they just call it a support structure. Basically, because if you look, it's quite thin there, and that means that the boat deck overhung by quite a distance, so there wasn't any support. So they had those support beams in just to make sure the boat deck wasn't going to collapse down on top of the promenade deck. And then, of course, in the other envelope, windows. Lots and lots of windows. Not quite as many as last time, but still quite a fair number of windows. However, they aren't as small as in the last issue, so I'm quite happy about that. And there are no doors on this structure because the first class lounge was only accessed from within, so nothing I need to drill out this time, which is lovely. But what I do need is some glue. Again, still in the small tubes because the range didn't have my usual vacuum sealed one last time I was in. This stuff works just as well. It does, if anything, it dries slightly quicker. So, as I say, be wary, because what I'll sometimes do is dab glue on a few of the windows and then come back to them. But yeah, it tells you not to do that. So, because the super glue dries too quickly. So, we're starting on this side, and we're going to be putting on these windows here. So what I'll do is I'll get one off, as I always do. We need 10 of them. So these are mounted top and bottom. So all you need to do is poke the sides, get it moved, wiggle it back and forth, and it falls off quite easily. If you're not keen on using your fingers to do it, you could use a pair of tweezers, you could use anything you like as long as it comes off. I find with both this and with Bismarck, there was no need to use a scalpel or anything to cut the photo etch. It comes off extremely clean. So as I say, it is these windows here before that curvature that we're doing, and there are 10 of them. So again, I use this just to be more precise with the glue. And once the super glue hardens on the end of it, because it does start to build up a little bit, but once it starts to harden, all you need to do is get a pair of pliers and squeeze it, and it will break the ball of super glue, and you end up with a clean tip again. So as before, making sure the hopper windows are facing the top, just drop it in like that. Now I'll do another one. See, there and along there. Now, I don't really like the way that's moulded, but I don't have the facility to cut it away, unfortunately, so it's going to have to do. And again, you won't really see it all that much, but I believe there was a similar problem with the trumpeter kit. Now, this is slightly more fiddly just because of the angle of the structure, but there you go, it fits in equally well just like that. So I'll get on and get the rest of these windows done, and I'll be back in just a tick. Okay, so that's them in, and they look awesome. Really chuffed with them. Now I would have thought we would move on to these ones next, but no, it wants us to do the same on this side and put the first 10 windows in here. So I've got them off, exactly the same, just making sure that you glue them in the right way up, with the 2 hopper windows facing the top of the ship. See, easy does it. That's how they go in. So I'll get the rest of these 10 done, and I'll come back for the next bit. Okie dokie, so that's them in. I love the way the brown looks against the white. I think the photo etch windows add just so much detail. It's absolutely phenomenal. Now, next, it wants you to break off the 2 bigger windows. So this one here and this one here. So again, they come off in much the same way. These come off easier because they're bigger, so they're easier to get hold of. Now, this one with the bigger grating is going in here. I'm just checking. Yeah, the grating is slightly rectangular and it goes long ways top to bottom. So it's going to go in there like that. But if you try and put it in there like that, as you can see, it's flat and the surface is curved. So it's not going to look very good. And if you try and squeeze it into shape while it's on the ship, it's not going to look good either. Now this one here is flat, so I can just put it straight in, just so I'm not picking up the wrong one. Again, one of my concerns with the size of these windows was, are we going to be able to see in? There's nothing inside here, but I don't think we will be able to. There we go again, that looks awesome. But now, what I've done is I've got my paint tin here, because if you look, the curvature on that isn't far off the curvature on my paint tin. So all I'm going to do is put the photo etch piece against the paint tin and give it a good squish down. Then when you pull it off, yeah, you'll see it has a slight curve to it. So I'm going to dry fit that and see if that's curved enough. Actually, pretty dang close, isn't it? That actually looks really, really good. So I'll pop that back out. I'll get a little bit of glue on. Now you can get a photo etch forming tool. Now if you're going to be doing any metal earth models or anything like that, I would definitely suggest that it might be worthwhile. Now I don't know how much photo etch forming we're going to have to do later in the Titanic build. There was a little in Bismarck, but not a lot, which is why I didn't ever go around to buying one. But yeah, you can see there, that looks phenomenal, and it fits the curve of the window. And we're then getting the other 2, and they're much the same, although the curvature is far less. they're still not quite square, so you will need to form them just slightly. I don't know how much you're going to be able to do it on the paint tin. Let's see again. Nah, it's not going to work on the paint tin. You're just going to have to push it into the curve of your finger and just give the ends a push, and that'll give it a slight curve, and that should be enough. I'll test fit it on here. Yeah, just that slight curve is enough. So yeah, as I say, if you're going to be doing like some metal earth kits or anything like that, a photo etch forming tool is going to be absolutely essential. But if you're doing stuff like Titanic, like Bismarck, Bismarck in particular, there is a fair amount of photo etch, but most of it's pre-bent for you. Yeah, you can see there. That looks amazing. And the final bit, again, just a little bend around the tip of my finger. As I say, it's far easier to do it while there's no glue and it's not on the actual surface. Get a little bead there. And the way I find easiest is to line up the bottom, then drop the rest in. And there we are. And that is the windows for the first class lounge. I think they look awesome. I do love photo etch. I mentioned it in my review of Bismarck that, yeah, plastic parts are all very good. Photo etch is fiddly to work with, but the effect you get is unsurpassed. And the only thing left now for this particular part is these windows here. Again, there are 8 of them. And these windows, I find, strangely enough, these ones fit the best. The square ones are always a wee bit finicky to get them to fit. But these ones with a curved top, they always fit an absolute treat. Again, you can see how easy they are to get off of the sprue. They're solid enough that they don't bend, but they're malleable enough that it's easy to get off. So again, just a little bead of glue around either side. You don't need too much, just enough that they're not going to fall out, as happened to me last time. Again, line up the bottom, drop them in. Amazing. I've seen people use tweezers. I'm maybe just not handy enough with the tweezers. I've also seen folk use blue tack to line them up and set them in. But because of how quickly this glue dries, you don't really need to have anything sticky. And as long as you're comfortable in your own manual dexterity, then you should be fine. Say, I'm just going to do these ones on camera so you know it's actually me doing them and I'm not handing it over to somebody else and going, yeah, going to put my windows in for me. Not that anyone would think that, but yeah. As I say, of the partworks I've done, I've completed the Millennium Falcon, completed all bar the rigging, Bismarck, more than halfway through Titanic, and I did start the Ecto one, but with the issues with Eagle Moss and then Fan Home refusing to send out the display plinth or the display case, I've decided to just abandon it up the loft. I may change my mind in future, but it's unlikely. The Titanic certainly is the most relaxing. I've had the fewest arguments with it, shall we say. Bismarck, I did have a few blue air moments with it. And the Falcon was frustrating because, as I've mentioned before, Model Space went bust and stopped sending me my packs out when I was about halfway through. But all's well that ends well. And the Millennium Falcon has just started again through Fan Home, but I won't be building that because, as I said, I've already got it. There. That's those windows in place. all the way around. I think it looks phenomenal, and it's such a shame that so much of it is going to be hidden by the kind of exterior wall, but that's just the way it is, I suppose. So move all this out the way, and we will bring the promenade deck back over. I think there are 12 screws. Yeah, 12 screws to put in. Again, they give us 13. A spare screw to go with a spare screw exactly the same that we get in nearly every other issue, but no spare windows. I have a ton of AP screws kicking about, but no spare windows. So you just need to be careful not to drop them. Okay, so I always prefer to put the screw on the screwdriver first, just the way I operate, because I'm a bit strange. Now, as you can see, the structure will only go on the correct way. Just line the posts up. Make sure the wee pegs go into their holes in the deck. And what I like as well is of the way they've arranged things is so that the joins in the deck, so it's here and here, they have a bit of deck housing going over the top of them, so they'll be well supported. So what I find easiest is to support from the bottom, from underneath the deck, so that you're not trying to pull the two surfaces together purely using the screw, because when you're screwing into plastic, that is a recipe for disaster, because there's a high chance you'll end up just pulling the threads straight out, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so as I say, bit of pressure on the other side, the underside rather. Push the screw right on through. I'll get the rest of these screws in, and I'll come back to you in just a moment for the next stage. Okay, so that's all those screws in, perfectly tight. You can see how it's looking there. It's stunning. It really is stunning. Now, the next thing it tells me to do is to glue in the support structure here. I'm not going to do that at the moment because it does tell you to turn the model upside down to put the light bar on. So I'm going to do that first rather than, you know, mess about with the support structure. So again, turn the deck upside down, and it's this area here. Now again, it will only go in one way because there's the cut off section there, and that goes here. So line it all up. Now I must say they've made this a lot easier than the ones on the boat deck, where if you remember the early issues where I was dealing with them, oh, they weren't fun. But there we go. That's them. The light bar in. And I've just noticed a window has fallen off. Ugh. Okay, so let's see which window it was. And of course, it's one of the angled ones on the side right there. So let's get that back on. The most difficult ones to fit are these ones, just because of the, well, they're on an angle. There we go. That's it back on. Right, so now I will turn us around, because the next bit we're working on is here. Now you have the support structure, and you can see the pins are not evenly spaced, so if you go to put it in the wrong way, it won't fit. It will only fit the correct way around, which is like this. It says you may wish to glue this. Yeah, I'm going to glue that. Say I try not to where possible, because I may use upgrades later on with some of the parts, but this bit I probably won't. I mean, it will be stable enough once the boat deck and everything's sitting on top of it, but I want to make sure it's sitting perfectly perpendicular, which it is now. Perfect. There we go. And that is the support structure in place, and that, along with all those windows and the first class lounge, is all there is to do in this issue. So yeah, that's us for issue 74. Okay, so that's us for issue 74. What's coming in issue 75? The next piece of the deck housing with its windows, its light bar and its light bar cable. Nothing too surprising there. I have up to issue 78, I think it is here. Something along those lines. So basically, 75 and 76 are the final two pieces here. 75 and then 76. And then issues 77, 78, 79 and 80. So I'm up to issue 80. They are all hull. So once we've finished with this bit of the promenade deck, we're moving on to extending the hull out. So hopefully we've got something to set everything on top of, because at the moment we don't. So yeah, that's us for issue 74. I'll be doing issue 75 just shortly because it's quite a quick one, I think. I don't think issue 75 will take too long. Very similar process, but there's no bending, there's no particularly difficult bits. It's just gluing windows in, screwing the deck down, putting another light bar. So it shouldn't take that long. And then, as I say, issue 76, it's more similar to the first one because it's more of the small windows. But yeah, as I say, there will be another build starting shortly. So just out of interest, pop in the comments what you think it's going to be. Given what you know is coming out, have a look, see what's coming out or what's already out and what you think I might be interested in doing. But yeah, as I say, that's us. Join me for issue 75. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace out.